the verse about the mustard seed. So if you're not familiar, it's like Jesus says, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And he's like, have you ever like thought about what a mustard seed is? And I was like, the only thing I know is that it's really tiny. And so it's like, all you need is this tiny amount of faith. As long as you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move that mountain over there, right? And he's like, that's what I always thought that it meant too. He said, but if you ever look at how a mustard plant grows. Welcome to the Rooted Dad podcast. I'm your host, Logan Engle, and I'm thankful you are here today. My goal is for you to feel challenged, inspired, and encouraged to grow into the dad, the man, and the leader God has called you to be. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let's get rooted together. Estate planning is one of those things we all know we need to do, but most of us put it off because it feels complicated and time consuming. To be honest, I always thought that trusts and wills were for rich people. All the people that have money that wanted to secure that $1 million bag. It's not. It's for the common family, right? That's why I partner with Trust and Will, and I love what they're doing. They've made estate planning simple, secure, and specific to your state. You can set up your will or trust entirely online with clear step-by-step guidance and even a connect with their attorney support if you need extra help. It's affordable, it's fast, and most importantly, it means your family is protected. Don't wait for the someday that never comes. Go to trustandwill.com/rooted today and save 20% on your plan. That's trustandwill.com/rooted to save 20%. All right. And we're here with Huey. And dude, just thank you for just still coming back and doing this again. This
Always.
is awesome.
Yes.
Oh man. It's listen, man, I've had a crazy day today, and I feel like the whole reason I'm doing the podcast and the whole mission of it is just to be vulnerable, right? And so even though it's a hard day, we all go through hard days as parents and as dads and men, moms, whatever. It's like, it's just important to just step back and be thankful that you have really good friends like you. And other than allergies, you're healthy. So,
Good friends like you.
Yeah, man, I'm just thankful you're here, bud. And I'm thankful that you came back. It means a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. My pleasure, man.
Absolutely. So, if you're new to the podcast, one, welcome. We're excited to have you. Two, we do a special segment once a month called Ask Me Anything. And you can submit questions on any of the social channels. You can email them to me. Whatever it is, you can get those questions in, and then we answer them here and we have a conversation. The reason I have Matt Houston is because we've worked together for such a long time, and it's to the point where like we push each other, we encourage each other, and usually when we start talking, at least for me, the wheels just start spinning in my brain like, oh yeah, I could do that, or yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like answering questions like this is great from a solo perspective. But when you bring another person into it, it gives a different perspective. And we have different backgrounds. We have different family environments. You have 1,000 kids. I have 3. So there's just different perspectives of how we get to answer these. And that's why I have you here. So I'm excited to answer some of these questions that we got today.
Yeah, I've got my wife watching the school of kids, so we'll be good.
Oh, man. That goes off.
Not quite 1,000.
Yeah, right.
But I always appreciate bouncing the ideas off of you. And like you said, when we do these questions and things like this, we mesh so well. I feel like that we also don't agree on every single little aspect. You know, we both have very different backgrounds and stories. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Well, do you want to kick us off with our first question?
Absolutely. Okay, this one is from Marcus. What's one moment as a dad that completely changed how you see the world?
So I was honestly thinking about this today because we were just kind of reviewing these. When Harper was let's see, so she would have been 2, but basically from 2 months all the way up until 2, Harper was a really sick baby. She had the flu 8 times, before the age of 2. She had pneumonia, I think 3 times. She legitimately had 21 ear infections. And she was just a very sick baby, and we didn't really know why. But there was one moment where she actually had to get hospitalized for the flu. And I remember being in the hospital, like, and she was, I think at this time she was maybe 8 months old, like she was little. And the only reason I remember she was in the hospital is because that day she got dedicated at our church. And so she came home and like uh, Gabby's family has this huge like christening gown that's been passed down in her family since like her mom was a baby. And so she got to be wrapped in that during the dedication, which was really cool. It has all the cousins' names on it. It's a cool thing. Well, when we got home, like Harper was really hot, and I was like, well, maybe it's just from the christening gown. Like she's been in it for a few hours. No, she was running like 102 fever. We gave her some Tylenol. We gave her ibuprofen, something like that, whatever was appropriate at that age. And it really wasn't going down. So we ended up taking her to the emergency room, and she ended up getting hospitalized. And I just remember being in there, and they have to call in special nurses to put IVs into babies because their veins are so tiny. And being in there watching her cry, like she can't talk, like all she can do is cry. And I just remember hearing her cry for like hours because they're trying to get this IV into her. And she was there for a couple of days, and Gabby and I would switch off and on to go. And I remember coming home to just get some rest, like grab some clothes. And dude, I got so sick. Like I threw up in our bathroom, and I was so overwhelmed and so stressed out that I couldn't hold any of it in, and I just got sick. And it just I always go back to that moment because now she's a healthy kid. Like she does dance like, I don't know, 4 nights a week. She's fantastic dancer, like very active, like she's healthy, right? But that moment changed the world for me because she was my only kid at the time, and everything that I always wanted was like I couldn't do anything. Like I felt helpless. Like I couldn't hold her. I couldn't do anything. Like I just had to sit there and like watch her go through that. And it I think the reason I say that is because it made me see the world very differently in the sense that there is a lot that can impact us, impact our kids, impact my life. And if we let it, it will destroy us. If you, and we talk about this a lot, but like, I'm a very big man of faith. If you just get down on your knees and you just pray and ask for like protection and guidance, things will be better. Right. And so that was something that just really changed my life, was watching her go through that, because the world's not a safe place. Unfortunately, it's not fun, but we have to live here and we have to be here and we have to go through all the crap that we do. Um, and we have to be okay with what happens in it. So yeah, long-winded answer, but
Yeah. No, I completely understand your story and get it. I mean, um, you know, having 6 kids, um, it I've been in the hospitals. Um, one of my sons was born premature. We took him home, and then within a day or 2, the jaundice was so bad we had to go back
yeah,
to, you know, the the area and have him under the lamp again. Um, so that was kind of scary. I think, I've got to read this question one more time. What's one moment as a dad that completely changed how you see the world? Um, First and foremost, having your first kid.
Yeah, I
Having your
agree.
first kid uh, changes your reality very quickly. Um, but as the kids kept coming, your reality gets bigger and bigger and broader and broader. And you find yourself trying to play catch up with all of them. Like they're growing so fast, they're learning so fast, they're doing everything at a breakneck speed, it seems
Yeah.
like. Um, and then those stop signs hit you. So when my son was probably 8 or 9 years old, he uh he was hospitalized at I want to it was a children's hospital in Kentucky. Um and he had some kind of infection. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it was. They had a PICC line to his heart and was giving him antibiotics. And what we came to find out was that I think his aunt had given him a a mouse, a pet, or a pet rat. And, he loves animals. Had a pet rat. Didn't think anything of it. Well, I think like a week before he went to the hospital, the rat had bit him,
Oh, wow.
and so during like this evaluation and everything, none of that never came up. And then at some point he told the story about it. And come to find out, he had what's called rat bite fever. And so they knew how
That's
to
a
treat it
thing.
at that point. But yeah, like obviously it's not something that you see hardly ever
Right,
now. Um, but it's something you wouldn't think of as, having like a pet rat or something
right.
that's something that you should be aware of, right?
For sure.
Um, but yeah, that was really tough going to the hospital and not realizing what's going on, seeing a PICC line to my child's heart, and you
Yeah.
know, but that just really puts in perspective, how life is finite, right?
Yeah.
Be
I'm
appreciative for what
telling
you
you,
got,
like,
be happy for what you have, be grateful, and be the best inspiration for your kids to get and move through those kind of situations and come out tougher on the other side.
for sure, there and I shout out to parents that are dealing with, um, kids that have, like, cancer, and they're just like, we have Riley Children's Hospital here, and,
Yes.
we've been up there a couple times. We were up there once for, Lily because she got did she get sick? Or I don't remember why she was up there. That's probably terrible. I'm an awful dad because I can't remember when my kid was up. I remember, like, it was something like she was just sick or something happened, and I remember getting on the elevator, and this is what, like, I feel like hospitals will humble you in a very unique way. Because I get on the elevator, and this mom gets on there, and, I'm like, "Yeah, we've been here for, like, 3 or 4 days," and I said, "What," and I kinda made a joke, what are you in for?" And she kinda laughed, and she was like, "Well, my son got shot 3 days ago, and we're just waiting for him to, like, see if he makes it," and I'm like, dang, like, I probably shouldn't have joked about that, but, like, there are people that live in hospitals for reasons that they can't control, right? And so, if you're one of those parents, and you're in a season where your kid is just hospital bound a lot, like, I feel for you and I'm praying for you, and just like you said, man, like, just keep your head up and be that encouragement and be that rock that your kids need, and have a really good support system behind you, because that's the one thing that will make a huge difference for you. So, yeah, that's good stuff,
Absolutely.
man. Absolutely, absolutely. Next question.
All right. So the next one is from John. He's a dad of two. If you could go back and talk to yourself as a brand new dad, what's one thing you'd tell him?
I'm gonna let you start this one off because I'm curious. 'Cause you have 6 kids and you've been through this 6 times. So I'm curious what you what you would say first off.
I think the first thing that I would tell myself is that things will get tough. You just need to be tougher. Okay. And find your consistency with your children. And the reason that I say that is because I've had ups and downs, right? And I've had different relationships and had to deal with divorce and other things. And the reason I would say that to myself is because one of the biggest struggles I had was being without my kids. And that tore my heart apart. And I got very depressed over that. So I would look at myself and I would say, "Hey, listen, you can still be there for your kids. No matter what happens, you can still be there. You can choose to show up for your kids. Find some kind of consistency and be determined to be the best dad that you can be." And I think if I would have told myself that when I was, 23 years old when I had my first child, then things would have gone a lot smoother.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Good for you, man. Um, I think this is kinda it's not hard for me, but it is because I think if I could go back and tell myself one thing, I think it would just be yourself. And I know that's like really cliche and generic, but I grew up without a dad until I was 12. And at the time when we had Harper, we were in a small group and I was working at the YMCA, which there's nothing wrong with the Y. Like I love the Y. It's a great place. Um, but I wasn't making a whole lot of money. And we were in a small group at our church with a lot of couples that were also having kids at the same time. And a lot of the parents were really successful parents. Like, and at the time it was like they're making, $300,000 a year. I was not, and I found myself comparing what I was doing to what they were doing. Oh, they got a Zoom membership. I gotta get a Zoom membership. They got, children's membership or children's museum membership. I gotta get one of those. Right. They're doing all these family pictures. I gotta do one of those. And if I could go back, it's just like just be yourself, go at your own pace, and don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses or other parents or if you see, dads that are, whatever, like taking their kids to all these events and baseball games, like that's great. If you don't like baseball, then don't go to baseball games, right? It's like just
Right.
just be yourself. And I remember when that came out was Harper was so she's 8. She was probably 4 or 5, and I love comic books. I love Batman. You know this. Anyone that knows me knows this. And, I took her to her very first Comic-Con when I think she was 4 or 5. By far, the most fun dad-daughter event that I've ever had because I got to wear my Batman costume. I literally bought her a Wonder Woman costume for it. And we had a blast, but it was because I chose to be myself and I wasn't trying to be the dad down the street or the dad that made all this money. Like I was just trying to be me. So yeah, if I could go back and tell myself, just be yourself, don't compare you to someone else. Like it's not worth it. Just be yourself and the rest of it will fall in place. So
Yep. I
yeah,
love
man.
that. Love that.
Yeah.
All
So
right. So I've got one from David in North Carolina. How do you personally stay rooted in your faith when life gets overwhelming? This should be a good one for you today. I know you came on saying, "Hey, life gets overwhelming sometimes," you know. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say on this one.
Yeah, man. So there's a verse, there's a story in the Bible, and I think it's in all the it might be in the Gospel of Matthew, but Jesus is actually talking about planting seeds on different kinds of soil. One of them's rocky soil, one of them's like semi-fertile, one of them's like has thorns in it. And all of these soils that you plant these seeds in, something happens to not root the seed, right? Like if you ever the coolest thing I ever saw was there's a video somewhere where if you look at a seed, when it grows, it actually looks like a tree underneath. And the reason it does that is because the more roots it has underneath, the stronger it is and the stronger it's held into the ground. So sometimes if you look at it, there's a mini tree under there, and then there's a huge tree above it too, because it needs good roots. So the way that I say all that because the way that I stay rooted in my faith is I just I get on my knees and pray. Like it's being a little bit more bolder in my faith and just remembering that I'm not in control. And to be honest, like coming on here, like, yeah, I've had a rough day today. And the advice that I'm giving right now, I haven't even done yet. So it's like, but it's a good reminder that for me to stay rooted, it's not like, yeah, read your Bible, go to church, do all those things, right? But like your relationship with God is what is the most important. And that's what's going to keep those roots foundational. So the fruit that you bear can be huge, right? So for me, get down on your knees. I told somebody today, like, wear your carpet out, like with knee prints, and just know that, like, when people walk in there, like, man, someone's been praying right here. Like, that's the big thing for me. So, um, yeah, that's mine. What about you? Because I know you're pretty new to the faith thing, right? Like, you're new in that journey.
Yeah, I love your advice there, and I really appreciate that. I think that like this one hits me a little bit differently because I struggle with this myself. This is something that is very important to me, and trying to implement it into my life in a consistent basis. Um, is tough right now because it feels like you've always got so much going on, right? Anybody can say that. I've got so much going on. Day's so busy, whatever. Um, but what I find funny when I say that is I also find time for little seconds throughout the day to say mini prayers. Uh, you know, I like if somebody texts me and they're having a hard time, and you know, they express like, "Hey man, I'm having a rough day, man," whatever, and I'll stop what I'm doing for a minute, and I'll say a little prayer, and that just helps me to stay rooted, I think. Um, and I'm not as consistent as I wanna be, and my big thing is consistency. The one thing that you reap what you sow, right, is consistency, right? You don't water a plant once a month and expect it to produce fruit. You 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 take care of it every day. You make sure it's growing correctly. You make sure it has the right fertilizer. You make sure it has, everything that it needs to grow, the right light. And if you're not doing that every day with your life, it's whether it's praying, whether it's telling your kids you love them, whether it's setting the right examples for them, you know, then then that's got to be something you gotta turn inwardly, and make sure that you're trying to be a little bit more consistent with that. That's kind of the way this is my struggle bus. I think this hits really hard for home for me because I do need to be better at that. But yeah, I loved your answer, but
Yeah, there's I was actually just talking to so Gabby's uncle is a big spiritual mentor of mine. And they were over here this weekend, and every time him and I get together, I love our like spirit-filled conversations. And he was like, "Hey," he's like, "I listened to this message about the verse about the mustard seed." So if you're not familiar, it's like Jesus says if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And he's like, "Have you ever like thought about what a mustard seed is?" And I was like, "The only thing I know is that it's really tiny." And so it's like all you need is this tiny amount of faith. It's really tiny. As long as you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move that mountain over there, right? And he's like, "That's what I always thought that it meant too." He said, "But if you ever look at how a mustard plant grows back then, if you planted a mustard seed, the plant itself would devour things around it." And so when you think about that, it's like if you have faith this small, it affects everything else in your life. It can affect your family, it can affect your job, it can affect your health, all in great ways. But all you need is a small, tiny amount of faith to believe that God can and that He will. And it devours. It takes over everything in your life. And so I was like, man, that is a word. That is a powerful message. And it was awesome. So this is kind of a great conversation for that too. So yeah.
The that's very interesting. I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Me either. And that's why it's cool.
Yeah. All right, going on to the next one here. This one is from Lewis, first time dad. What's the hardest lesson you've had to learn as a father, and how did it shape you?
I feel like these are like very deep questions this week or this month, I guess.
They're all deep.
that that's really true. All of my kids are still kind of young, so I feel like I still have lots of lessons to learn. I think for me, honestly, and I've started to understand it more recently, is that all of my kids are very different from each other, and they're different from me, but they're also my kids. So, like Lily, it is blatantly clear that she has ADHD out the wazoo. Her dad also has ADHD out the wazoo. Um, and so there are times that I forget, and I'm not using that as like that's why she does what she does, but like I lose patience with things because of like having ADHD. She has a short attention span because she has ADHD. And when those two things mix, it is not good. And so and I guess like the question was what's the hardest lesson you've had to learn? I think that's it. Like all of my kids are so different, but they're also so similar to me that I have to remind myself that like I have to approach them with a lot of grace, right? So like my kids don't listen very well sometimes because they're kids. So instead of me yelling at them from across the room, it's walking over to them, putting my hand on their back and just saying, "Hey, I don't know if you heard me, but I need you to do this." And it has taken me, I don't know, 10 years to understand that, and I'm still learning to do it. I'm still not perfect at it. But I think that's the hardest lesson just because when you yell at your kids, like I apologize to my kids a lot. I don't know if anybody else does, but like I apologize to my kids. And just like tonight, I apologized to Lynn. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry that I yelled at you the way I did. I shouldn't have, but you weren't listening and I got frustrated, and that's no excuse, but I am sorry that I yelled at you." And she was like, "It's okay, Dad." And she gave me a big hug, you know. But I apologize to my kids because if I don't, then I don't want them to think that's all that I do. Like I don't want my emotions and my frustrations and my hard day to be taken out on them because they don't deserve that. And apologizing is a part of giving grace and a part of forgiving people. So, yeah, man, I think just understanding that all my kids are different, and I hope and pray that it is making me a better dad, and I believe it is. And I think a part of that is doing this and teaching you guys how to do that and making me a better dad in turn. So yeah, that's mine.
Yes. So I think I can approach this from a million different ways because there are a ton of hard lessons to learn as a father. Changing a diaper being one of them. But no, and in honesty, I've I probably apologized maybe a few times, maybe one or two times. I am not um a big component of apologizing or making that a habit. And that's just me. That's the way I father. I do father a lot of boys. Now, do I yell at my daughter the same way I yell at my boys? Absolutely not.
Right.
I want my daughter to understand that the way that I treat her is the way a man should treat her. And I want
Agreed.
her to grow up knowing that. So, but with my boys, they're about as thick-headed as I am. So they do need a little bit of hollering every now and then.
Absolutely.
But the hardest lesson that I had to learn, and I'm still learning this lesson. This isn't something that you just learn and you're done with it. Is my temper. Number one, it's self control, right? Um, and that includes um, making sure you don't go overboard, right? You don't go overboard with the yelling. You don't go overboard with any of that stuff. And when you do, I'm at a point in my life now where I do say, "Hey, son, I'm sorry I yelled at you the way that I yelled at you. I probably should have chose different language, but I'm going to tell you that these are the certain things I expect from you. And when those things don't happen, I do get upset because I hold you to a higher standard than anybody else does.
Yeah.
Okay? I am the I am the one person that is going to want you to do better than I did ever."
Yeah.
And so you know, and that's a tough lesson to learn because I grew up with a strict dad. You know, I grew up with the tough love. Like I get that. You know, um, so that's kind of where my tough lessons have been. Absolutely.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, and it's always hard too to like break those habits of your parents too and kind
Yeah,
of make your own parenting style. So kudos to you for knowing that. That's really good, man.
and I would also say like just like what you're saying, like this is the reason why we're doing what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
I wish I had growing up being a dad to go to because I
Yeah.
didn't. I
Yeah.
you know, um, I my both my fathers passed away when I was young, you know. Um, Same with my mother. So as far as parenting advice, not much out there.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation? This would be an awesome resource if I would have had it when I was
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah. Hey, selfish plug in, follow the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. All right, you ready for the next one?
I am. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we should be good. Yeah, we got time. Okay, we should be able to get through the rest of these.
A little bit longer one says, "How do you balance being a present dad, a
And
husband,
husband.
and
Yeah.
running a podcast without burning out? My husband is wanting to start his own business, and I'm worried about him going through burnout and not being present with our kids. Love the show, by the way." This is from Sarah from Texas.
Hey, we got a female listener. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. Glad you love it. Hopefully your husband's listening too. But I think for this, again, like I think you have to choose your priorities, right? So if you're, I think from both perspectives, I think one for you, Sarah, like I think one, you do have to support your husband. Um, a little bit about this, like I've told Gabby for years that I've wanted to run my own business. And every time I've come to her with it, she's like, I don't know. Like, are you sure you want to do that? And it wasn't that she didn't support me. It was more of like, are you sure that this is going to work? Right. And I remember when I came to her with the podcast idea and I was like, hey, I can do this. I can do this. It can go this way. It can go that way. Like, and she's like, I like it. I like it. And I'm like, whoa. And so I'm going through getting it all started. I remember asking her one night, I was like, hey, like, you're really cool with me doing this podcast and starting this business. And she said, yeah. And I said, can I just ask you why? And she was like, it's the first thing that you've like come up with that is sustainable, that has legs, that can grow into something really great. She's like, all these other things are great, but they're really hard to get off the ground. And she's like, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it's one of those things where like you have to be really careful with how you approach it, right? So I think for you, like Sarah, I think one, just like sit down with your husband and work out all of the kinks with whatever business. I don't know what he's trying to start, but just ask him all the questions. And then I think the other piece too is like you guys also need to establish boundaries and expectations with each other. So, yeah, you can start the business, but like you're home for dinner every night. Yeah, you can start the business, but like if we have events and birthday parties on the weekends, like you're there. You can start the business, but if I need help, like I need you here, right? So I think that's a big foundational piece, and Gabby and I have done that with this, right? Like I intentionally plan my recordings, my podcasts. Like there are times that I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning because everyone's sleeping and I know I can get all of this stuff done. But that's something that I'm willing to do so I can be present and so I can meet the expectations and the boundaries that we've set with each other. So I think for you, just, yeah, set those expectations, talk through the business of whatever it is, and make sure that you guys are on the same page.
I love it, Logan. I think this really hits home for you and what you're doing. Um, I think I you said it, and that there needs to be a schedule, right? Like my wife and I keep a calendar together that we share, and we have all the kids' events in there, all my school events in there, like what's going to happen when, who's doing what, where, who's taking whom somewhere, you know what I mean? So there's there's a lot of planning and communication that goes with that.
Hmm.
And if you don't do the planning and do the scheduling and have the communication that you need to have with one another, then this is going to be a very hard hill to climb.
For sure.
Um, so I think lay down the recipe for success in this foundation is just, make sure you keep the calendar and you stick to priorities. What are the priorities? What needs to be done when? And stick to it and have those agreements and have those conversations. So I'm just kind of mimicking what you're saying on that. But at the same time, I think that hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to pause. So we're gonna do that real quick. Have you ever seen the show Mythbusters? They would always come online and they would prove things that were wrong, whether it was walking in the rain versus running in the rain, which one would keep you drier. There was all kinds of things that they did. Well, a lot of people think estate planning is only for the wealthy, but that's just not true. If you have a house, kids, savings, or even just personal wishes, for how things should be handled, you need an estate plan. That's why I partner with Trust and Will. They make the process simple, affordable, and state specific. Everything is online, and you can even get attorney support along the way. Estate planning isn't about how much you have, it's about making sure what you do have goes where you want it to without leaving your family to deal with the confusion or conflict. Take the guesswork out and visit trustandwill.com/rooted to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/rooted to get 20% off of your estate plan.
Absolutely.
All right. I've got Casey, father of twins. Why did you start the Rooted Dad podcast? And has your why changed since then?
This is a good one. So the biggest reasons I started this podcast was, so I obviously didn't know my dad until I was 12. And I went through my life not having that father figure. I had my grandpa, which he was a great dude, served in the Navy, just an all around great guy. And then when my dad did come into my life, I still remember I tried to run away, and he was like, he's like, all right, well, go ahead and take all the stuff that you own. And I said, okay. And I started packing my clothes and all that. He's like, nope, I bought all that. He's like, you can't take any of that. And I said, well, what can I take? He goes, the stuff that you own. He's like, what have you bought? And I said, I bought my stereo. And he's like, well, you're going to look really stupid walking down the street butt naked with a stereo in your hand. and, and so that's kind of like the birth of like when me and my dad like really started to bond and get close, right? But the big reason I started this is because there are a lot of men that grew up without fathers. And because of that, like for me, I learn a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now as a dad. I'm kind of learning for the first time because I didn't see my dad do it. I kind of saw my grandpa do it, I guess, but like I'm creating my own rules of fatherhood, right? But at the same time, there are so many resources out there for moms, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love that there is, but there's nothing out there for dads. And if there are, they're very few and rare in between, right? And so I want dads to have an outlet. I want them to feel um I want them to feel included. I want them to know that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not know what you're doing. It's okay to, just be here. And you don't have to. I had a guest on, um, her name was Dr. Meg Meeker. And one thing that she brought up was if you look at all of the like hit TV shows, they all have these like dumb dads. Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, the American Dad guy. You look at sitcoms like Phil from Modern Family, like all of these dads are kind of like silly and like they're not serious about things, right? And that doesn't have to be you. Like, can you have those moments where like you're fun and so absolutely, but like you're not an idiot either. Like you don't just sit on the couch and drink beer all day. And if that's you, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Like get up and play with your kids and hang out with them. And like I remember when like my brother and I were in high school, we would ask my dad to get up and go play basketball with us out front. He's like, nah, I'm tired, man. Like I don't feel like it. So it's like now it's like if my kids are like, hey, will you go play tag with me outside? Like there are times I'm like, I don't feel like it. And then I remember how I felt as a kid. And I'm like, I need to go up and play tag with them, even if it's for a few minutes. Yeah. The big reason I want, so I guess to sum this up, there's three reasons. One, I want to give dads a resource and an outlet to learn and grow and develop. Two, I want you to understand that you're not by yourself. And third is I want to help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be 2 years, 10 years, 2 days down the road. And I want to be part of that for you. Like I love seeing people grow and I love seeing people get better. So it's a long-winded answer, but overall, man, like I did this because I just want you to be a better dad for yourself and for your kids. Has my why changed? Absolutely not. I'm so excited to do this and like I'm gonna keep going and we're gonna keep building those strong roots. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't even
Oh,
like
I love
camping. I don't
that.
even like nature, but like it's like it's like I still remember like I was talking to my therapist about this, so like shout out to having therapy, but it's like I don't cry in therapy. And I remember before I even told him about like the name of what I was going to do, I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying. He's like, well, that's because it's like deeply rooted inside of you. And I was like, that's weird. That's weird. So yeah, man, this is a cool thing. Like I love doing it, and I love like getting these and just being able to talk to people about it.
Love that for you, man. Absolutely love that for you. All right. Going on to the next one by Justin in California. It says, who's been your favorite guest so far, and what's one thing they said that stuck with you?
So I'm honestly probably Dr. Meeker. She brought in she brought in like a woman's perspective of this, but she also opened my eyes to a lot of things that like her work has done, right? So um like she just had a lot of very good wisdom for dads out there, and she was one that like kind of opened my eyes to this thing where like I never noticed it until I talked to her, but every dad, there's a dad joke. Every dad that you see on like cartoons, in the media, like in TV sitcoms, they're all like just these like ditzy, dumb, beer drinking dads that have no idea what they're doing. And I never thought about that until I talked to her. And so I think just with her perspective and everything that she brought was just a lot of it she's written a couple books, and um I was reading one of her books at the time that I was talking to her, and it just everything about that book has like pierced my heart. And just like there were times that I had to put the book down because I was like I have to like I'm being consumed by it in a good way, but it's also making me look at myself very differently. Like I know I need to be better. And having all girls, it's even tougher because as you said earlier, it's like I want to be the guy, I want to be a reflection of the guy that my girls bring home. And if I'm treating them like dirt and crap, that's probably who they're going to bring home. And I don't want that to happen. So, yeah. Yeah. And then Matt Houston, because he comes on here every month with me and does ask me anything questions.
No. Oh, well played, good sir. Well
Well
played.
played. Well played.
All right. So the last one that I've got on here is Chris from Indiana.
Look at that.
What's a dad fail or funny moment that your kids still won't let you live down?
I'm going to let you go first because you have,
Oh
I feel
man.
like you probably have a decent amount.
Oh my gosh. Uh this is kind of a tough one.
That's
Um
also why I made you go first because I still have to think of mine.
this is- what's a dad fail or funny moment that your kids still won't let you live down? Oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
So, and it my kids have made it a running joke now. So, and I think I've said this. We talked about this a little bit the last time, but I was in a wheelchair for a while, right? So now every Halloween, anytime my kids see a wheelchair with a skeleton in it, they get a picture with it and they will send it to me. So I've got pictures of my kids saying, I'm with dad, and it's a skeleton
That's
in a
sad.
wheelchair.
Oh my God.
So
That-
yeah, they but that's my kind of humor. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I laugh really hard when they do it to me, and it reminds me that they're thinking of me out there.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think I don't know if it's like a a dad fail, but one thing that we always do in our house is dancing. Like there's always music on in our house somewhere, and and I am a selfishly, I'm a big fan of Frozen, and everyone in this house knows it. And so when Frozen 2 came out, um, we took the girls to go see it the first time in theaters for them. The next 2 times we went and saw it in theaters was for me. And um, so I mean, you know, when those, like, fun little, like, Disney songs come on or just anything like that, like, I break out in song and dance, and it's fun. It's, you know, I don't know if it's, like, a fail moment, but, like, you know, sometimes they're like, "Dad, stop singing that way." I'm like, "No, it's awesome." Like, you have to give them all the emotions. You have to, like, you know, do whatever. So I lip sync a lot of
That's so
Frozen
funny. I love it.
songs. I lip sync a lot of, like, any Disney princess song I probably know. Like, we always go to, well, we have traditionally gone to, what do you call it? Disney on Ice. And every time we go, I feel like I'm the only dad singing all the songs that are played. So, you know, I think that's mine is just I love we're a big Disney family and we, you know, take it what you will, but yeah, man, any Disney song that comes on, probably know the words to it and that's what we get to. So, yeah, man.
That's all right. It's all right. I was earlier before we got on here, I was trying to get my microphone to work and I was
Yeah.
singing some Cher. Do you believe in life after love?
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that song. Wow. Um, dude, this has been awesome. This is now the second time that we've done this. Before
Yeah.
we jump off here, is there any kind of like last encouraging words that you want to give before we jump off to the audience or anything?
I think if I had the audience out there just understand that we're rooting for you. We're we're trying to be on your side. We're trying to help. You know, if there's something out there that you're seeing that you're doing that you're having success with us, please share. You know, get on the Rooted Dad podcast and subscribe. You know, send messages. Let's engage. Let's um let's get more dads out there. Let's make a tribe.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're building I like that. We're building a tribe for sure. And we're building a community of rooted dads. And so just know that like you're not alone, you are not by yourself. We're here. There's a community that is growing, a tribe that is growing, that is all behind you, rooting for you, cheering you on, just to, you know, really for you to build this amazing foundation. That's gonna do a lot of things for your family. So you got this. You're a champion. You're, as God says, you are more than a conqueror. And with that, I appreciate you guys. Huey, I love you. And I'm glad that you are always
Love
on
you,
here
brother.
with me. And we will see you guys next time. So bye, everybody.